Hello and welcome back to the Welsh Premiership podcast, sponsored by our partners Lecker Foods as always. Lecker Foods will be down Cardiff Arms Park this weekend for the Wales South Africa game. So if you're making your way to that game, then go check them out. For those of you that are new here, then go check out our guest podcasts. On Wednesday, we had a good chat with RGC head coach Kerry Jones, obviously an ex-player as well with Newport Harlequins and Worcester. Boys, did you enjoy that one? It was good to have him on, wasn't it?
Yeah, really great to speak to him. Interesting to see what he's doing at RGC this year, his plans, and yeah, just great to have a chat with him.
Yeah, so moving on to the games then, and we'll get on to Kerry Jones RGC in a bit. We will start off with the Eastern Conference though, and tonight, big derby game, Cardiff hosting Newport at Cardiff Arms Park. And that's a big game in itself, but obviously Newport got the better of Cardiff last time they played at Rodney Parade. Newport sitting top of the Eastern Conference as well, with Cardiff just behind them. Cardiff, obviously, not too many Cardiff rugby players dropping down into the team, but there's still a few, still a couple. Newport, obviously, without any academy players, but still got a really strong base of their squad. Matt O'Brien moving into outside half. Players like Reece Jenkins coming in the back row as well. Boys, what do you think that game will be like?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Top of the table clash, local derby. Doesn't get much bigger than that, does it? Like you touched upon, not many regional boys dropping down. Obviously, I know in this block now, the Dragons, Scarlets, and the Ospreys will all have 18 games. I don't think Cardiff Rugby are, which probably gives Cardiff RFC a bit of an advantage because it's been said that they'll use the Premiership as their sort of development tool instead of the A games. So obviously they haven't got many in this week, but in the coming weeks, we might see that come out as an advantage. But yeah, it'll be a really tight game. Newport obviously top of the table, Cardiff just behind them, and I think Cardiff will be looking for. I think Cardiff will be looking for revenge after losing at Rodney Parade last month.
Yeah, and it's two top teams, who both like to throw the ball around. I think, like I said, maybe Cardiff might have the edge tonight, only because Newport, I know, like Will Reid will be a big miss from a 10, and there's a couple others missing, but yeah, it should be a cracking game.
Yeah, and obviously, like we mentioned, that Cardiff don't have too many players dropping down. One of the ones that is dropping down, obviously, Alan Lawrence. Does that sort of show where he is in the Cardiff rugby pecking order? Obviously, they've just announced today they signed like Taulupe Faletau, like another quality back rower to go in the mix. Does that kind of show where he is in the pecking order?
Yeah, it probably does, but like you've touched upon, Cardiff's back row depth is, incredible. I mean, this is going to be even worse, even better for them next year with Thomas Young and Faletau joining. But yeah, good chance for Alan Lawrence to get out there and hopefully show what he can do.
Yeah, and obviously, well, to obviously be in the Blues squad, he's obviously a very talented player, and I think that Cardiff RFC can only benefit from that tomorrow. And yeah, hoping that he does have a really good game. Elsewhere in the Cardiff team as well, our old mate Dan Fish, sort of really well loved in the Premiership, isn't he? Obviously announced his retirement from regional rugby and then was back in the squad for the Dragons the other week. But he's back for Cardiff today. Good to see him back in the Premiership.
Yeah, definitely. When he has played for Cardiff this year, he's been outstanding. The way he's controlled games from 10 or 15. I know he was at the Ponty game the other week where he was man of the match and he probably won Cardiff that game. But yeah, the level he's played at as well, he brings so much experience to that Cardiff squad.
Yeah, and moving on then to the Saturday games in the Eastern Conference. Pontypridd versus Ebervale at Sardis Road and RGC versus Merthyr at Parc Eirias. Adam, congratulations. I know you've been added to Pontypridd's media team for the coming season. So yeah, take it away. I'll let you have a chat on that game.
Yeah, I'll be up there tomorrow, 1 p.m. kickoff. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, Ponty lost in the reverse fixture up at Eugene Cross Park. They'll be looking to get a good win. Got a good team out as well. A young, exciting team. I'm really looking forward to seeing them play, and I'm confident that it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, I know. Like in Ebu's team, they've obviously made a lot of changes again. With obviously, we mentioned the amount of Dragons academy players they was using in the first half of the season, like Joe Westwood, Ben Moore, Carrick McDonough, Joe Peard. obviously we spoke to I spoke to Greg when I was doing some work for Ebu, and Greg was sort of all focused on building a squad, adding these Dragons rugby players in. So it'll be interesting to see sort of they got quite a few players coming back in, talented players that have not really had a chance so far this season, like so David Rabazniak, who fair play to him because he's been back and forth with Poland in the Poland camps, self-isolating every time he comes back. So that's why he hasn't really been available for Ebu. But he's a talented player, ex-Cardiff Met player as well. So it'd be good to see what he does at 7. A couple of players on permit as well. I know they got a player in from Nantiglow and teams like that on permit. So it's a good like stepping stone for them really. And that's another benefit of the Premiership really, is you do get the opportunity for these players that come in from lower clubs and can play in the Premiership and sort of earn themselves a spot in Premiership teams. Moving on then to the second game, and RGC v Merthyr at Parc Aries. Spike, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it should be another good game. I know in the reverse fixture it was high scoring. I think Merthyr won at 37-29. And like we said, we spoke to Kerry Jones the other day, and he said maybe RGC have used the Premiership Cup so far as a bit of a extended pre-season, but now they want to get some points on the board, and they'll be well up for a home again. I think I'd fancy Merthyr because they sat 3rd in the league, and depending on our result tonight, there's a chance for them to only go 2-3 points behind maybe Cardiff or Newport. There's still a good chance they can make that top 2. So I think Merthyr will be well up for it. Pretty strong side they've got out as well. So yeah, I'd fancy Merthyr, but in quite a high scoring game, I think.
Yeah, obviously we spoke to Kerry on Wednesday, and he was saying how much they've improved recently. They've come on leaps and bounds since he first took over. I wouldn't be too surprised if RGC actually came out on top. They'll be backed by a good home crowd. He was saying like they've been getting crowds over 1,000 recently, so hopefully another good crowd and might be able to spur them on to victory.
Yeah, another thing that you mentioned, one that is sort of this clash of styles in the league. Obviously, the likes of RGC, Newport, Cardiff trying to play really expansive, high tempo rugby. He mentioned obviously, I think was it the Cardiff game, the ball in play time being very high. So, and then obviously you look at the likes of Merthyr, Ebbw Vale, and no disrespect to the style of rugby they play at all, because it is effective. And obviously we've seen that with Merthyr's recent results. Obviously that win over Cardiff at the Wern. But it will be a really real clash of styles. RGC probably going to try play expansive. Merthyr, obviously, we've seen their pack. Obviously, Tutaya coming in the back row, big ball carriers. They'll look to set piece quite a lot as well. So yeah, that'll be a really interesting like clash of styles and be a really good game, I think. Moving over to the Western Conference then, and tonight myself, Tobias, and Luke Hawkins will be up to the Brewery Field to watch Bridgend take on Llanelli. Tobias, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it should be another good game. I know the game played at Parc Scarlets. It was a tight game. Bridgend only won by 3 points. The lineup today does look exciting, especially that back line. It's good to see Matthew Jones back to control things. I know Tommy Morgan and Stu Floyd Ellis in the centres as well as exciting partnership. So I'm looking forward to it. Llanelli are on the rise though. Again, quite a young side they've got out, but they've improved. They give Abraham the good game the other week, nearly come away with a win there. But I'd fancy Bridgend. The pack is solid, but I think that back line could score quite a few tries tonight.
Yeah, obviously we mentioned with Llanelli they're really like struggling to pick up a win this season. Do you think they'll be really targeting this game? I know sort of that they've been targeting every game, but they did come close to Bridgend last time they played. So do you think they have a good chance of turning Bridgend over still?
Yeah, there's plenty of positives there from, the last game against Bridgend, the last few weeks, and there's only 3 points between the two sides in the table. So, if Llanelli win today, puts them above Bridgend sit bottom. So I think maybe, we said they were targeting the Swansea game early on in the season. Obviously, that didn't pay off, but I think this is their best chance probably now tonight, and they will be well up for it. And like I said, they will give them a good game.
Yeah, obviously you boys off there tonight didn't get the invite, so I'll be at the Arms Park watching Cardiff Newport. But no, it should be a good game. Like, I think perfect opportunity for Bridgend to get their first home win of the season. Llanelli still haven't got a win yet, have they? So if they're going to win at home, Bridgend tonight is the night. But yeah, I think Bridgend will come out on top by a few scores.
So moving on to the Saturday games then, and Llandovery hosting Carmarthen. Yeah, obviously Carmarthen will be travelling up to Llandovery looking to avenge their defeat earlier on in the season. We know how evenly matched these two teams are. They seem to always be around about the same area of the table, and that's the same again, isn't it? So yeah, it'll be interesting. Not too many changes to the Carmarthen Quinn side, even though they have obviously lost a few of their Scarlets Academy players. I know Kemsley Matthias was good in the last game week. They've lost him, so you'd expect him to be involved in the A games coming up, wouldn't you? Because he was brilliant, made our team of the week as well. Nice to see Hayden Pugh keep his spot after a good week last time. When you look through their team as well, like Ed Sigary, and then in the backs you got Leon Randall, Dale Ford out there as well, Rodri Davis. It's pretty much what you'd expect from Carmarthen. They haven't changed. They're not haven't really changed their team too much this season, like some other teams have. Llandovery, we still haven't announced their squad yet, but they don't really change too much from. Obviously we know that's going to be a tight game. I think Llandovery slight favourites, but wouldn't be surprised to see Quinn's edge them out. Boys, any thoughts on that one?
Obviously, Llandovery came out on top back at the start of the season. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they won again. Both teams are similar, sort of equally matched, aren't they? Bit of a rivalry between them both. They always want to beat each other. Quins, we've seen their team. We know what they can do. Llandovery haven't released their team yet, so we're not sure who'll be playing. But obviously it's a rivalry, so Quins will be looking to get one up on them after they lost reverse fixture. But I think Llandovery will probably just come out on top and keep putting the pressure on Aberavon at the top.
Yeah, I do think it'll be a close game as well, but I have to say I think I fancy Quins. I went to watch them a couple of weeks ago when they played Bridgend, and the scoreline maybe wasn't huge, but they were really impressive. Up front there's a very strong pack. We said the likes of Hayden Boo, Siguri, some good experience there. Then the back line, seems to be the same back line roughly every week, because those back line just solid. Leon Randall is, every time he gets the ball from fullback, looks dangerous. I know Rodri Davis is outstanding the other week. I do fancy Quins to come away with a win there.
Moving on to the final game of the weekend then, and Swansea hosting Aberavon. Obviously that's somewhat of a derby as well. Adam, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I've seen Swansea once or twice this season. I saw them in the friendly up in Neath where they played well, and then obviously disappointing result at home to Quins. I think Swansea will struggle this weekend. Obviously the Ospreys have got an A-team game, so a lot of their promising youngsters who have performed really well for them recently won't be playing. Well, Aberavon have seen their team. It's a really good, solid team. They know they'll need to win to sort of stay top, especially if Llandovery get the win. Yeah, I would fancy Aberavon, but like you said, it's a bit of a derby, and you never know what's going to happen in the derby. The form book goes out the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think obviously you mentioned Aberavon losing to Llandovery a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now. We mentioned at the time you think that's going to be a real wake up call for Aberavon, and I think the fact that they did obviously lose that game, I think it'll probably motivate them to not get complacent again, and especially going away to a team like Swansea, who have been not awful, but they've not really shone either. They haven't. They'll be disappointed with how the cup competition's gone. We know obviously the issues they have with relying on some of those Ospreys youngsters. So I think you would expect, obviously, as you said, expect them to struggle this week without them. But again, similar to Ebervale, it gives them a real chance to sort of show these players that have been obviously not involved in the academy setups, obviously local club rugby players. So it does give them an opportunity to sort of step up and cement that place. Because obviously, with someone that's a full-time Swansea player as opposed to an academy player, if you've got two players in the same position, say, that are equally as good as each other, you're obviously going to try and prefer this person that's going to be training all the time, like week in, week out, as opposed to an academy player that's going to be dropping in and out. So if some of these players can obviously prove that they're just as good as these academy players dropping down, that could be worth their weight in gold to Hugh Gustafsson and his coaching squad going forward.
Yeah, like you said, it's a big chance for those Swansea boys coming in, whatever side they do end up putting out. Like I said, Abraham have rotated again, which they have done throughout the season. But yeah, last few weeks they haven't probably performed like they would have liked to. 6-point win against Llanelli. They just held on there, lost to Llandovery. So Swansea will have a decent chance, I think. We still fancy Abraham and probably, the experience in that squad to come away with it.
So kick-off times for this week then, obviously 2 games tonight. Cardiff hosting Newport and Bridgend hosting Llanelli. Cardiff-Newport game kicking off at 7:15. As I'd already mentioned, he'll be up there. I think Zach, Guerin and Harrison are going to be up there as well, providing match report, match updates. And I think, Ad, you've got a few interviews in store for us as well, don't you? So keep an eye on our social medias, and they'll be coming up tonight. And obviously, as I mentioned as well, myself, Tobias and Luke will be up the Bridgend game, providing sort of similar updates. Got a couple of interviews lined up as well with the players and coaches. So really looking forward tonight, actually. And I hope that the viewers obviously enjoy that as well. Moving on to Saturday then, and Ad, you're a busy boy this week because you'll be up at Ponty then, as you mentioned, 1 o'clock kickoff. RGC Merthyr 2:30, Llandovery Quins and Swansea Aberafan both at 2 then as well in the Western Conference. Just wanted to say another thank you to our sponsors, partners, Lekker Foods. Again, they'll be at the Cardiff Arms Park fan zone tomorrow for the Wales-South Africa game. So yeah, pop down, see them for some traditional South African braai and some biltong, which is a personal favourite snack of mine. I know you two boys aren't too keen on that, but we move. So yeah, we'll be back next week with another weekly preview show, and a week next Wednesday as well with another guest podcast. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.